Welcome to the Wealthy Lawyer Squad podcast. I am incredibly excited and honored to have Rochelle and Alicia Schwartz here today on the podcast. I'm going to do a quick intro and then we're going to dive in because you definitely, if you don't already know these incredible women, this mother-daughter duo, you're going to want to learn all about them. I have had the pleasure of talking to them both on Zoom and at a wonderful lunch recently. And every time I leave feeling so good, so happy. And I know that they're going to have so much value to provide to all the law students and lawyers who are listening out there and who are very possibly going through some tough times, some challenges, some burnouts, some overwhelm, some all the things. So really, really excited to have you ladies. Rochelle and Alicia are the co-founders of the mother-daughter dynamic duo. I love it. A thriving coaching practice and community rooted in holistic mental wellness and love. I know we've talked a lot about that. I want to talk about love today because the world needs more love. Rochelle and Alicia empower clients to navigate significant life challenges with confidence and clarity. With a combined 50 plus years of experience, so you were coaching before. Coaching was really, it's everyone, coaching is everywhere now, but it really wasn't. It wasn't before. You're both certified master integrative relationship and wellness coaches, and they've dedicated their lives and careers to helping guide individuals through life's transitions and challenges. Rochelle's impressive career has included being on the Oprah Winfrey Show, which she didn't even tell me that. I did that I found that after doing some digging.
You dug it out.
And utilizing revolutionary coaching techniques learned through the renowned Ford Institute. Rochelle's integrative approach focuses, as I mentioned, on holistic mental wellness, I love so much, empowering clients to navigate significant life changes with confidence and clarity. Alicia's equally impressive career began, and I know we talked about this in person, with overcoming significant personal challenges, which has fueled her passion for really guiding others through life's transitions with love and with style and empowerment. She creates safe, loving spaces where individuals can express themselves, their true selves, and experience profound growth. Rochelle and Alicia are also the hosts of the Together We Rise podcast, dedicated to navigating life's challenges, enhancing relationships, and fostering personal growth. And I also saw that you were recently featured in a book, which I also did not know about you ladies. So I'd love to hear about your journey, how you got to where you are, and also this book, because it sounds really cool.
Yes. So I'll let you go first, Mother.
I guess so.
And thank you,
And
Lauren.
thank you so much for having both of us.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate it. And we have so much to give back to people. And it starts with our journey, because otherwise, how can you do that unless you have your own challenges in life? And so my journey began at 30 years old. And I was like, I had done a lot of previous work. And it just it didn't feel complete for me. And then in 1996, I did the first shadow work process. And it really goes into, because I came from a background of tremendous dysfunction and nobody was connected. It was a very dark family. Nobody was there for me, let me say that. And so that was a really big challenge. It was like I was thrown out to the world and go out and find yourself. So I did. And it wasn't easy. It really wasn't. But it was a hell of a lot better than it had been if I didn't do it. And I have that because I see both my sisters, and they never did any work. Yeah. So, when you go through this and you feel inadequate and you feel you're not seen and you're not heard, and you have so much to work through, but I will say, with all these challenges, I would never not do this because of where I am today. I can tell you it's, for me, learning how to love myself, which was a whole journey onto itself, because when you don't have it growing up, you don't know what to do. Yeah. But because of that, and having a husband who was, or an ex-husband, who was a narcissist, it was, everything was turned around. So it was always me that was the wrong one. And so, and he was a verbal abuser. And then I had sexual abuse and just a lot of that mixed in.
Yeah.
But I'm a very courageous, strong woman. And I just knew nothing was going to stop me. And nothing stopped me. Even on the darkest days, nothing stopped me because I just knew that life had to be different. And so it has been. And, coming from where I'm coming from, don't forget there's a generational thing. I was 16 when I met my ex-husband and married at 20. So there was a lot different than it is, of course, today.
Yeah.
But I'm very proud of myself. And I can tell you that working through all those issues and coming and learning to really know that you're worth it and that you have something very powerful to share and to say. And it just gives you this feeling of you can stand in your power and you can share your story and with such confidence. And I wouldn't have had that if I didn't go through what I went through. I just wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And so it's been a very interesting journey. And out of that marriage, of course, I have two beautiful daughters and one sitting right next to me. And I'm very proud of her. And we both do the same work. So we decided to really work together right around COVID.
Yeah.
And it's really, we have a very special bond. And I would love, love, love people to take away from what we share really something that, because this is right here, very important. This is your foundation. And this is your foundation for the rest of your life, whomever you bring into your life. If you don't work on yourself, you're going to keep on repeating all those patterns again. But when you do work through it, this relationship being so strong and powerful, you will create the most incredible relationships. You really, really will.
I love it. It's beautiful.
It is. It's just whether it's a man or a woman or friendships or whatever. Children.
Business.
Business. Yeah. It's just
Workers.
so important to have that foundation with your mom, or if you don't have your mom, whoever really raised you, that's where it really starts anyhow.
Yeah. You mentioned something called shadow work. For those in the audience who may not know what that is, what is shadow work?
She's good at that.
Shadow work is basically turning on the light to where the darkness is and finding the places where you don't want to really look and bringing the light and seeing the gift of that, say, part of yourself, right? So each of us has a part. Maybe we were told when we were young, don't be that. You shouldn't be that, and you shut the part off. But in life, you have to be, it's the duality of life, right? If you know hot, you know cold. If you know, high, you know low. So it's the same thing with these parts of ourselves, right? If you know you're smart, you also sometimes can make stupid mistakes too. So it's embracing all of yourself. And really the gift of the shadow is, if you can embrace and find the gifts and really love it, you can integrate it and then be a whole human being. And then you get your power, your creativity, your brilliance, because that's really the gift of the shadow.
And we are brilliant. We really are.
Yeah.
We're geniuses, basically.
We are.
If we could just embrace it, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's light or dark, if you put the light on, there's no more darkness.
Yeah.
If you stay dark, it stays dark. There has to be a gift in the darkness. There always is, if you're looking.
Always.
Yeah. I love that. And one of the reasons I asked that, I've done shadow work on my own, is in the legal industry. And we talked about this when we had lunch a few weeks ago. The mental health, the mental well-being is very, very bad. And it's actually getting worse every year. And there's studies that show when law students enter law school, for the most part, they start out on, an average playing field when it comes to mental health. Some people struggle, they come in already struggling. Some people really don't seem to be struggling. And then everyone else is like kind of in that norm.
Yeah.
But within a few weeks, not even months, the mental health declines rapidly across the world, or at least in the US and other countries too. And I feel like I'm just at the tip of the iceberg of understanding. I know why, some of the reasons why that is. There's a toxic culture. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of external validation. It's a very kind of masculine energy. And I know we were talking about this over lunch. What would you say, and I know you've worked with lawyers, what has been your experience in coaching any lawyers that you have or friends that you might have? And what do you think from your professional perspective, because I know you deal with the dark and the light. What do you think can be done when you see an entire, I know this is like a really heavy question to start out with, but what do you think can be done when there's an industry as a whole that's suffering?
Well, I think the main thing is they have to be willing, right? Willingness is the key for them to want to change,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't make someone change.
Right.
You have to want to change. And usually what people want when they need change is they're in pain. They're in some kind of emotional pain. They can be going the same thing over and over again. And they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So that is the main ingredient that has to happen to work with a coach, whatever coach you are.
Right.
So, people, whether, I've worked with lawyers, we've worked with lawyers, they've been willing because they were so burnt out and tired and wanting a balance, some kind of balance, and tools for themselves to give them self-care. That's a big one, I think, for most lawyers is the self-love, self-care piece.
Yeah. Yeah. That actually,
how to work that. Yeah.
That leads me to one of the questions that I have. So I'm going to hop ahead because it's a perfect segue. What role do you both think self-care and self-love and compassion plays in a healthy well-being, in a healthy life? Like how important is that aspect, do you think?
I think out of 100%, 100%.
100%. 100%.
1,000%.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because and we're talking about lawyers, right? Most lawyers that I know are burnt out, and they lack the self-care, self-love piece. And, what we do is lead them back to giving them tools on how to really self-love again. Because you know how to do it. You've just lost your way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Totally.
And I think it's feeling like you don't have the permission to do that. Like somehow you will be less successful if you do that.
Correct. And it's too much. The client needs me. I need to get this case done. They need me. Well, it's the old saying, the oxygen mask in the airplane.
Yep.
You can't take your own oxygen first. How can you be there for your clients? How can you be there for your family? What were you going to say?
And what I was going to say, which is also what happens is if there's no self-love, self-care, I will tell you, it's going to manifest in your body. It really, really will.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, and if you don't keep on doing the work that you really need for yourself, it's going to manifest somewhere in your body.
It has to. Where else is it going to go?
It has to.
Yeah.
So we love giving tools and stuff to people where they can start.
Yeah.
You
Really
know?
self-love.
And it's people used to say it's so selfish. Well, guess what? Nobody else is going to do it for you. So you know what? Be selfish. It's okay.
It's that old saying, no one's coming to save
you.
Right. It's so true.
Boy, is that a big one.
So if you have someone that comes to you and they're like, I don't have any time. I have no time, but I need tools. What are like your favorite go-to tools for those who think they have no time?
Well, tools that we could give them in a quick minute. Gratitude. Writing down, 5 things that they love about themselves or 5 things they're grateful for. If they can't find it themselves, 5 things you're grateful for.
Yeah.
I'm grateful I woke up today. I'm grateful I brushed my teeth. I mean, it could be that simple, but it changes the vibration. It changes your attitude. It changes your whole intention, and also having an intention for the day.
Yeah, really.
I love that. I love that. Setting that intention, starting the day, because once you get out into the world and all the things, the traffic and the people and the energy,
Yep.
the clients,
Yeah. And it's also your breath, your breathing. Breathing is imperative. Most people shallow breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you get in there and start breathing, you can't imagine the change that you'll have.
Yeah. I know I have that issue, and I try to be hyper aware of it, where I do the shallow breathing, and then sometimes I'm holding my breath, even like
Yes.
I'm not even aware that I'm doing. I mean, I've tried to be more intentional about it, but I still notice myself doing it.
Yeah.
Another great tool that I, recently started to do again was mirroring work. So you look in the mirror and you say, I love you today, Alicia Schwartz. I love you. Or you're so beautiful. I am so beautiful. Whatever it is that you want to hear from somebody else, give it to yourself and mirror it back to yourself.
Yeah.
It's powerful
It's another
work.
self-love tool, right?
Yeah. So, mirroring is really powerful.
I deserve to have it all. Whatever your thing is that you don't think you are, mirror it
Yeah.
in the light.
We did a workshop where they actually had to hold a mirror and they had to look. I mean, it was fascinating.
Yeah. It's mirroring work
It's
is
so
divine,
powerful.
and it is a manifestation.
Yes. Just
Like
like
that.
that.
That's really, really cool. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that as an exercise. That could be a good one at the retreat, a cool
Yeah,
exercise. I like that.
And we have the mirror, so don't you worry.
I think that's amazing. And I was listening to another interview that you both did, and you were talking about how you view yourself then impacts your relationship with basically everyone else on this planet. And I thought that was such a fascinating way to look at it. I'd love to hear more about that, because I thought it was just such a cool way to look at the world and like take accountability for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that most of us just go on in our lives and we're on the hamster wheel. We're just going, right? So we don't really tend to take time to self-reflect and say, like, who do I want to be today? Like, who do I want to be? I want to be happy. I want to be free. I want to be light. I want to be joy. And then you bring that with you everywhere you go. Or you wake up and you're like, oh, I can't stand what I look like. I can't stand. And so you're already setting yourself up, and that's what you're going to generate in the outer world. So everything is self-reflective.
Right.
You go wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
That
So
is
you
true.
want to make sure you're looking in the mirror and you like what you see before you get out there in the world.
And you know what? You feel that people might judge you. There's a lot of, especially with women, they look at you and they're judging you. But guess what? It's not true. You're judging you. You really are. And so it's like standing in that feeling of, you know what? I have something important in this world to do.
Yeah.
And nobody else has my fingerprints. I'm unique. And it's and no one's coming, of course, to save you. So start doing something to make yourself feel good. Meditate.
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful, even if it's 5 minutes,
Yeah.
it's so powerful.
Go for a walk.
Yeah, it's
Just get out in nature.
phenomenal.
Hug a tree.
Oh, I just did
She
that.
just hugged a tree.
I did.
Went to
swear.
First State Park. She's like, I need to hug a tree. I'm like, let's
Oh.
go.
And I did. I got information from it. I really did, because I love the energy. It's energy.
I think all transformational work is perspective and perception of self,
Yeah.
really. Like how you see yourself is how you see the world.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure the way you see yourself is in a good light, or else you're going to see yourself in the world just like that.
Yep.
That's why I think it's so important to do the work you need to do to give that love and light to yourself, and be willing to do it. It's
And
amazing.
know that you can shift it, that whatever perspective you have today, it doesn't have to be the same tomorrow.
That's right.
Absolutely. I mean, Alicia came from really a father also.
I came from an abusive father who was verbally abusive. I had I know you know there's a learning disability growing up as a kid. So do the soup. You have a learning disability and verbally abusive father. So do you think I felt good enough? No.
Right.
I felt stupid. I felt unwanted. I felt unloved. And so I had to, at an early age, really start to, 22 is when I started my journey in doing shadow work, really, to start to learn to love the parts of myself that I didn't see that were worthy of or whatever. So the gift of the shadow, you free yourself.
You do.
You become whole. And you're not like, oh my God, is she going to find out? Is he going to find out I'm really like that? That's who you are.
Yeah. It's total freedom. It is, because then
emotional freedom.
Yeah. And like we were saying before we started to record, then if people don't fit in your life and they aren't aligned, it's like, okay.
And it's not even about making it wrong, right?
No.
Just the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It is really true.
And we love that you're so doing the work you're doing in the world.
We love it. We even said it after, God, that was really good. We sat with somebody
who's
really
a lawyer, okay, that wants to bring this awareness
to
others and lawyers and the world.
Yeah.
So good for you, too, that you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it really stemmed from, I was 5 years into my law practice, give or take, and I thought, I can't go on like this. Life shouldn't feel this difficult, and I enjoy what I do. But if I've only done this for 5 years and I'm already like wanting to jump off the cliff, like how am I supposed to do this for another, however many years, 40, 50 years?
Right. Yeah,
And so it was almost out of necessity. But then once it's like we talked about at lunch, like once you know it, you can't unknow it. Once you take that genie out of the bottle, you're like, oh, life is beautiful.
This is it.
And I have autonomy, and it doesn't have to be that way.
No,
it's everything.
It doesn't. And really, another great thing is we have this book, The Right Questions, which is a great book. The 10 Essential Questions to Living an Extraordinary Life, and it is by Debbie Ford. And it's questions that are so simple, and it could be like you wake up one day, you're not feeling good. One of the questions is, will this empower you or will this disempower you?
It's so great.
Is this an act of faith or is this an act of fear? There's am I looking for what's right or am I looking for what's wrong?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a whole thing on that too.
God, yeah,
I mean, there's
so many different
to do to love yourself and give yourself the tools you need to navigate this world.
Yep.
Because as you know, the world is all over, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're not right here and you're not stable here, right?
You're going to be pulled and pushed all over the place.
Like a like a
punching bag.
What are they? Like a yo-yo. Bing, bing, bing.
True. Your energy together is just, it's so good, and it works so well. So you said you started together really around COVID. How did that kind of transpire? And were you kind of coaching together prior to that? Because you both have so many years of experience.
When you're alone and you have nothing else to do, and then we sit and talk about it, it was like,
let's do this. And we did something prior before. We did a mother-daughter workshop. It was called Myself, My Mother, My Friend. And we had 25 women. And we had one mother-daughter that was a Holocaust survivor.
Oh, wow.
Which was dynamic.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And we talk about generational trauma, generational. And you know what? We knew we had something together, but it wasn't the right time to dive fully in. And I think, right?
Yeah. And we were told to do this so many years ago.
Because we have that energy.
But it wasn't the right time. So just by saying, what else you want to do? We have COVID. We have to be in the house.
And the great thing is she does her own work, I do mine.
Yes,
so if we get affected by each other, it doesn't last more than about a minute because we have to look at ourselves,
It's true.
Like, I can't stand that in you. Oh, really? Are you sure that's not you? So, it doesn't last long, but it's a beautiful thing. And I feel very blessed that I have my mom here still, and that we get to do the same work in the world, and that, I have the relationship I have with her. And listen, not everybody has that, right?
No.
And we coach mothers and daughters that don't. And we're not like saying, we want you to be the way every relationship has their own, right?
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
No, we had somebody that also never knew where her parents were. She had absolutely no idea. Her real parents. And her stepmom wouldn't tell her. And her stepmom knew. And she wouldn't tell her. And then she started doing our 7-week course, and she went and found them.
All of her whole
All of
family.
them.
And they lived in Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Yeah. She met everyone, her sisters, her brother, her mother, her father, all of them.
So she was able to do that in 6
Yeah.
weeks in this
Yeah.
course.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Looking at life.
powerful.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
So that's how we came together again, so to speak.
I love
doing
it.
this work.
Yeah.
I love it. What are your other offerings? I know you work a lot with mothers and daughters, of course, but we've talked about it a little bit, but I'd love to share with the audience, other things that you're working on.
We have the master class.
We
too.
have, we do. We have a master class probably in February.
Yeah.
And that's the Courageous Warrior of Love.
Mm,
And it's powerful, would you
Yeah,
say?
it's really just, and we're not going to give it away, but it's really all about how you can access that courageous warrior within
Inside
yourself.
you.
wow.
And the four modules it'll be, and it'll show you how to really get into that and own it for yourself.
I think we could all use some
Oh,
energy like that right now to navigate this world.
True.
And what else are
It's
we
so
doing?
true. What else are we doing? We have the master class in
Right.
February.
Then we have yours.
Then,
Right.
well, you're going to be doing your event in February
Yep.
with all the people that you have gathering, which we can't wait about to be involved with, which is exciting. And then we also do individual coaching.
Group coaching,
Group
too.
coaching, and I meant to say group coaching, came out individual. Group coaching. And right now, and we have our podcast right now.
We
and
have
that's
the
what we have
podcast.
right now.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do,
Oh, and then my mom's going to do her own little sacred.
I'm going to do a little
love
sacred.
corner.
Yeah, it's sacred. It's the
Oh.
sacred, what is it now? Sacred Sundays with Love. And it'll be from 10 o'clock to 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. It'll be a quick meditation and something inspirational that you can take with you for the week. And I'll probably do it every Sunday. And it'll be on Instagram.
That's
And
awesome.
it's a great way for people to start their week on
Yeah.
a Sunday to start their full week. We talked about intention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to start your week.
And you know what? When you meditate, you get so much information. It
Yes.
really, you do have that monkey mind and and I'm doing this 35, 40 years. It comes in, but you just have to let it go like a cloud in the sky and then come back to yourself and to your heart.
The other thing I wanted to say, because I know we're coming close to it, but the lawyers out there, the people that are in your field, especially in your field, I would just say, the most important thing for them to do for themselves is self-love.
Yeah.
And that is an act of self-care. And if they don't do that, they will burn,
Yeah.
cry, and they won't last.
Yeah.
No, and I'm just saying your field, because we're talking about the
Oh,
lawyers.
absolutely. And I think I'd love to touch on quickly, I think a big part of self-love is boundaries. And I think that's something that we all have a hard time doing in the legal industry. Do you have any tips on if someone is really bad at setting boundaries? I used to be awful. Any tips that they can kind of, turn inward and really figure out how to do that while still not feeling like they're disappointing everyone?
Yeah, I think one thing, and then
Go ahead. No,
one
that's
thing
all right.
is, and I got this from a friend of mine who was in this work as well, and she'd always say, if it's not a resounding yes, don't do it.
Yeah.
It has to be a resounding yes. And that is part of boundaries, because if it's not a yes and you do it anyway, then you're overstepping your boundaries. And then how many times do you do that?
Yeah.
Then you fall into these scenarios that you don't even want to be in. So that's one little tip, one little nugget.
And for me, because of where I'm coming from and my age and everything else, I had somebody, and every single time I'd speak to her, it was so negative, and so everything was terrible, and it was just like bothering me terribly. And I would kind of mention it about boundaries, about energy, and one day I just said to I just have to share this with you. I can't speak to you anymore. I cannot talk to you. Your energy is so bad that there's nothing happy. What's happy about your life? Is there somebody you're happy with? I mean, it's just amazing. And I don't have the patience for it anymore. I don't. So boundaries really show you that you can stand in. You don't have to be mean or anything, but just stand and just see how you can work it out if you so choose to.
Yeah.
If you choose to. Otherwise, I decided not to, and I was fine.
Yeah.
I was fine.
And then I think part of boundaries is speaking your truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I where I'm thinking about it is, and looking back at my career and a lot of the colleagues and the people that I coach, it's usually with their boss. It's their boss asking them to work 12, 15-hour days, asking unreasonable timelines, and especially when you're young in your career, feeling like you can't say no.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think that that's part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a wrong thing. I think it's just part of the journey, because as you grow, then you become more secure in yourself, and you don't give your power away to anybody.
Right.
Not even a boss. Even if you could still set boundaries and say to your boss, listen, I appreciate you wanting me to work more, but like I have nothing left to give. I hope you understand I'm taking this time for myself. I mean, you can do that.
You really
It just
can.
takes the willingness and the courageousness, that's the courageous warrior, to set those boundaries and say, you know what? I value you as a boss, but I also have to value myself. And if you want the best out of me, then sometimes I have to say no to take care of myself, and speaking into it.
And that's where the work comes in. That is where the work comes in, where you can stand up for yourself.
In a beautiful way, in a nice way. You're not
just say, you know what? I've given you my family is a little bit more important right now. I've got to give some time to them as well. And that's a boundary, It's very powerful. Boundaries are very powerful. They really are.
It's like the line in the sand.
Yeah. Totally.
You can't go over the line.
Totally not.
And it is about being courageous. It really is, and confident, and loving yourself enough to say, hey, I only have so much to give.
Yeah.
And guess what? If they fire you, then guess what?
They're not meant
to be your boss, because a good, worthy boss would say, of course, go take time for yourself. I get it. Then you know right away you took care of yourself. And then it builds that confidence. It builds that courageous warrior within.
Yeah, and the more you do it, it's a muscle. You'll get stronger at it. You'll get better at it.
And it won't even be an issue anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Until you get to the point, it's like well, of course, this is what I'm going to do.
Right. And once you do it once, it's like that power that you feel, oh, that really felt good. And you'll constantly keep doing that. You won't let that go under the carpet, so to speak. You're going to sit up and you're going to stand up rather and say, this is really how I feel. I love what I do. I love my job, but I have to have some time for my family and myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think that people will take a lot from that. And I hope people really take that to heart, because you don't want to wait until the point where you are completely burnt.
Or sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's so true.
So take good care of yourself now.
Yeah. And it is, because, there are people that will go to work and be sick because they're not good enough. They have to be there to show what a good person, what a good, attorney you are. You know what? You're not doing yourself any justice.
And again, I think that stems from like old beliefs we have that go back to when we were younger, those limiting beliefs that keep that in place. So the boundaries, the good, the people pleaser. So there's work to be done to see why you're doing that. And you don't even know why you're doing it, because there's an unconscious belief you've got going on. Yeah. That's where we come in.
Yeah. And that's why coaching is so incredibly powerful. It really is, because it's those things that you kind of just think this is the reality, this is the absolute truth, when it's not.
Nope.
It's not. And you could live such a more balanced, happy, healthy life if you take the time. And maybe it's, self-work, but often it is with a coach. Yep. For me, it's always been a coach, a therapist, both, all the above, multiple coaches, because it pushes you forward so much faster, and learning from others and having that energy. I mean, it's everything. It's everything.
It is.
100%.
Yep.
I know. That's why I'm so excited to have you at the retreat.
Delicious.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
It's delicious.
It's delicious. It is. It really, really is.
Yes.
So I know we're wrapping up soon. I'd love to hear really quickly about the book that you were featured in, Brains and Beauty, 111 Bosses in Lipstick. Like, what a fun name. I want to hear about this. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's really all entrepreneurs, basically, lipstick and bosses, and just sharing the
Their
story
stories.
about being an entrepreneur. And so we were featured as authors in the book, amongst other women.
Yes, all over the
world.
Awesome.
And you can purchase it on Amazon.
It's going to be
soon.
coming out the 26th on Amazon.
I think
Amazing.
Yeah, 26th.
Yeah.
So, and it's just all relatable stories on entrepreneurs that have really, what it's like to be an entrepreneur and how they get through it and their own stories around it, basically.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be getting my copy for sure. That's amazing. That's amazing. For everyone who I know will want to connect with you, learn from you, follow you, where's the best places for everyone to find both of you?
Well, I would say mother-daughter dynamic duo.
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. It's mother-daughter dynamic duo, and you can DM us. You find us all over.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we are.
And
I
we
love
will
it.
do a discovery session, a 15-minute discovery, just to see if you have to have somebody and you feel it, if they're the right fit for you.
And you're the right fit
and
for
you're
them.
the right fit for them.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's, I think, a good way to find out.
I love it. And the Together We Rise podcast, which I've been listening to, it's so good. It's so good.
Thank you.
We have some really cool people coming on as well. You're coming on, aren't you?
I would love to be on. Yes.
I said you were coming on.
It'll be in January.
I love
I'd
it.
love to have you come on.
You have to
really,
come on.
you have to.
Share you.
Yes.
I would be honored. I would be absolutely honored. Oh my gosh.
So would we.
Oh, Rochelle, Alisha, this was so good. Every time we hang out, every time we talk, I just feel like this really, really, really good feeling, like just amazing. And I think it was on a Friday the last time too. So I keep ending my weeks on these fabulous notes with you. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Come over, we'll have a pajama party.
Yes. I mean, we literally live so close. And fun fact, I didn't get to mention this earlier. My little boys have started meditating with me in the morning. They're 2 and 4, and they are like, "Mommy, can we meditate?" And I have crystals, and they hold the crystals.
Oh,
And,
how fabulous.
That is adorable.
the older one learned it from school. He meditates at school. And so he's like, "I don't want to close my eyes." I'm like, "You don't have to close your eyes. Whatever you want to do."
Oh, is that fabulous?
That's amazing.
I know.
Good
I
for
wish
you.
I would have had that.
And good for them.
Yes.
Right. I wish I did too growing up.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
I know, it's the best. Oh, well,
Yeah.
Thank you so, so much for coming on, your time, your wisdom, your energy. Looking forward to all to come. And thank you for being on the Wealthy
Thank you
Lawyer
so
Squad
much.
podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you both
Bye,
soon.
everyone.
Bye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.